Okay, we're going to do a quick tutorial on incident management in PowerSchool. So this is going to be um, what we call tagging, and it's going to primarily be for things that are probably going to end up with some sort of discipline or suspension or um, something that has obviously made its way to an administrator's office that requires the oversight and work of an administrator. So here we go. So looking at the training server here, this is not the live instance of Weber School District's PowerSchool server, but let's say you do all of your legwork and you're ready to tag or document. You're going to search for a kid, pretty self-explanatory, pretty intuitive. That's here. So once you get here, the first screen that's usually going to pop up is the student schedule, unless you've been working on something else in PowerSchool. Doesn't really matter. From here, you're going to go down to incidents, which is under the administration header right here. You're going to click that. Again, this is going to be for things primarily that are going to result in suspension or a pending removal, or things that rise to the level of potentially something that can't be fixed with another means of correction or something like that. So you're going to create, I think it's going to be best for all of us to start by always using the detailed incident. There's two options, quick or detailed. I suggest we all start with detailed incident. It's actually not that much slower than using the quick incident. So once you're here, this is where you start building out your incident. So you start with the incident type. It's almost, depending on what you're doing, we are probably going to be selecting state reportable unless we get other direction. Incident date, pretty self-explanatory, whenever it happened. Time frame is going to be, whatever you're going to select here. Title, so on and so forth, fight, whatever, drugs, possession of marijuana. Then you describe the incident, pretty self-explanatory. This is going to be generally where the narrative in My Student would go, where you kind of type out all of the names of all of the students who were involved in the incident that are going to be represented in your documentation. Location, pretty straightforward. Location description, this is where it might be worth noting, like for Weber, I would put WHS Ryan Ketchold AP. And this is almost always going to be 0 unless you're dealing with restitution. And when you are dealing with restitution, you can just put that in the box. The big thing about this is the incident description is going to be very general. It's going to be a broad summation of the incident. Once you move down to the actual incident builder, this is where things become more individualized. And the nice thing about this is that, if you have a larger incident, say something involving, 12 or 15 or more students, you have a big fight or something like that, multiple administrators can build it at the same time, or you can do your part. And then, if a different administrator handled different elements of the incident, they can then go in and build out their portion with the kids they worked with. So from here, you're going to click on Incident Builder, this green cross right here, and you're going to search for whoever your kids are. So once you hit your name, type last name, you'll get kids that come up. I just hit search, so it brought up everybody, but you'll obviously have unique kids. Let's just say, Justin Adair was involved. You hit add. And then, he was the one in possession with the marijuana, so he would obviously be the offender. For attributes, if any of these apply, you'll put them. And then and that's it for that. And then, so under offenders, you'll see that Justin was just populated, right? And he can then be moved and changed. So this is where it's kind of drag and drop, right? But for now, he's going to stay the offender because Justin and Bethany were in possession of marijuana, or whatever you want to say. So we can go ahead and add Bethany, who also was in possession, here. Now, once you have those two kids, let's just say these two kids were found to be in possession of marijuana. You filled all this out and completed it. You've provided, the explanation, the results of your investigation. You would come over to incident elements. So one thing that's important to remember is that these are going to be unique for every student. So you're going to add an action, and the action code, this is where you're going to select the consequence. So let's say, they were suspended in school and the date was the 4th. So you could even put here in school suspension 1 day, referred to advocates, something like that. Then when they return, or when it's over, it'll be Monday the 7th. It'll be school days 1, because you assign them a day. Then let's say they actually did their day, it would be 1. I don't know that we're going to be required to put any of this in here. Depends what district says. Action attributes. This generally refers to special education. Parent contact, you'll note that here. Let's say you called them. Contract, you can put here. So you're going to be school or district personnel. Obviously, this becomes more specific at the district level. I don't know that this is going to be required to list if it's not for special education, or maybe for a removal it will be. Generally, this civil rights stuff is only going to be for, that federal statute if it's violated. And then let's say we're doing Justin right now. Let's say he stayed in school without SPED support. That would be the 1 day suspension. Not applicable, not applicable. None of this is applicable. Let's say you add action. So now I've added this individual action, and I put that under Justin. So then you have kind of different choices of where you could go from here. You can either add the action for Bethany. Let's say she had a different consequence. The action specific to the student you're dealing with. We won't worry about objects, but if there was an object involved, you would add it and put it for whoever had possession. And this generally doesn't mean, well, I guess we have this here, so we can do that. 1 vape, THC, vape pen, or whatever. You could add that there. And then you would add the behavior. And this is where you're going to have looks like substance. You probably do this one, and if you have multiple behaviors, but the behavior you're primarily dealing with will obviously be the primary behavior. So then you add this. So now you have Justin with all 3 of his little pieces of the incident here. Then you would do the same for Bethany. Now you'll notice the behavior stays the same, but if you don't drag it over here, then nothing's going to happen with it. So you can see pretty quickly that these incidents can get large and complex when you're dealing with lots of students. So so then you just hit submit incident. Now we were under, okay, it's not letting me save it, but that's generally how you would document an incident or use the incident management builder for PowerSchool.